Good morning. It is day one of my last weekend as an unemployed person, a non-employed individual, and I will be headed back tomorrow, or not tomorrow, sorry, Monday, to start my new position in a new state, in a new city. I'm very nervous and excited about that, but today and tomorrow are going to be all about enjoying some time with my family and my dogs, and just kind of enjoying this nice weather we're having. Behind me are the cliff sides that surround Mr. Roger Schwedler Memorial Field, which I discussed a little bit in my video yesterday. And as you can see, it's not really a deserted ball field. It's just not utilized that often, but the city does come up here and maintain the grass and cut some of the weeds back off of the fences and things like that. So, and every now and then some kids come up here and do some graffiti, but nothing really too heinous happens up here that I know of. But the graffitis kind of caused them to choose that hideous purple color for the dugout areas, and I keep hoping that they're gonna find a good batch of paint to come up here and paint it a decent color. So, but with that being said, there's no plans for this weekend whatsoever. We could end up anywhere. I could end up staying at home, but regardless of what we end up doing, I'm hoping to show you some new things and discuss some new things, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video and listen to me ramble on about things that I think are interesting. There's a little bit of haze in the air, and I apologize for the shaky video, but you can see the top of the observatory at Observatory Hill. It's actually at Riverview Park, but that's the namesake of Observatory Hill. Speaking of the observatory, that might be a nice little quick trip today, and we could talk about that a little bit. It's a beautiful building. I don't think it's open today, and maybe one of these days we could go inside. I've never been inside, but it might be kind of neat to check out the building and the surrounding area over there in Riverview Park. And on a nice day, you can usually see the city from here, but it does seem to me that there's a lot of haze in the air this morning. And it's not particularly humid, it's just a lot of white in the skyline today. And not really seeing anything. It's just a little bit too hazy, I think. What's interesting is that says USS Cyclone Fence. This had to be built when the steel industry was actually doing well for itself here in Pittsburgh. I don't think you'd see that anymore. These purple flowers, that is Rose of Sharon. We've just planted some of these in our backyard. They're everywhere up here on Observatory Hill, and when we moved in I didn't have any of them in my yard, and I was kind of jealous of all the people that did, so I went out into the woods and I dug some up and I planted them in a row at the top of there's like this steep part on my hill in my backyard, and I just kind of planted them in a row up there. And I did discover if you're gonna move a plant like that, you want to do it during a dormant period. So I would probably say early spring, because I tried moving some the year before in the dead of summer, and that really some of them lived, but a couple of them died, and they really wilted a lot pretty rapidly. So just my little tip of the day: if you're moving a plant, definitely do it during a dormant period. So Sophie is the most energetic dog I've ever had. She's also the strongest dog I've ever had, and she's really not that big. I think she only weighs like 45 pounds. when we got her, we traveled to a little town, I forget what the name of it was, probably about 20 minutes north of Sugar Creek, Ohio, which incidentally is where I want to say the world's largest cuckoo clock is. They have a really big cuckoo clock in the middle of the town. Anyway, she was a puppy. We got her from some Amish folks that were selling them up there. She was so cute on her way home, but we quickly discovered that these dogs need to have training and socialization, and that doesn't necessarily guarantee you the result of having a dog that you can kind of put a bandana around its neck and take it to a dog park and play frisbee with it with a ton of other dogs and people around. It does guarantee you that you'll have a dog that you can manage and introduce to people. Our experience with Sophie has been phenomenal. She's very loving, very protective of the children, very, very energetic. Like when you wake up in the morning and this dog sees you, you get the most loving hellos. And if anybody tells me an animal can't love somebody, I'd have to get a video of how she, if I didn't care about what I look like in the morning, I would have a video of her greeting me in the morning, because she's so excited, so happy to see you. And she literally will pin you down and hug you with her two front paws like a human. So very loving animals, very energetic, need a ton of exercise. If you want to lose weight and you're able to get out, I would buy a Dalmatian, because she doesn't beg for food as much as she begs to just go out and run or stretch her legs. Or we talked to people that said that they've ridden their bikes with these dogs running alongside. And if you do your research on these dogs, they're pretty much utility dogs, but they were used as carriage dogs, which is why you see them in firehouses. It was for back when fire wagons were horse-drawn. They're supposedly really good with horses, and they used to have a lot of energy. They like to kind of take the lead in the group that they're in. So if they were like running alongside a buggy, they might run in front of a buggy, trying to kind of advise the public, hey, you know, the firemen are coming, or there's a carriage coming. And I thought that was really interesting. And they're also really good guard dogs. But again, I would not get one of these dogs unless you have a lot of property or area to get them out, because they need a ton of exercise. And she's all muscle. She literally, I weigh about 220 pounds, and she drags me like, at 45 pounds, this dog drags me like she weighs more than I do. It's really something. So, but yeah, that's my lovely dog. And I do have another dog. He's really old, and his name is Caesar. We'll introduce you to him, but he's very unappealing. We love him, but he's very unappealing. He stinks. He makes a lot of noise. He's a puggle, so, and he's really old. And he was not a rescue, but we got him at a shelter, and he's pretty much just been a house guest with us since the day he arrived. He could take or leave us. If I opened the door today and he could find another home, he probably would. But we love him. We take care of him, and he appreciates us taking care of him. But he could literally go to your house tomorrow and quickly acclimate. As long as you have food, a soft place for him, you know, he could be your house guest for the next 10 years. And not necessarily one you want to have. It's almost like he's a relative that you really don't want to have over at your house, but since you care about them and their family, you accommodate them. That's pretty much how we feel about Caesar. Like he's our Uncle Orville, just kind of using us for our, like an open room and 3 meals a day. And that's pretty much my current dog situation. Pirates of the Caribbean mask.
Is this supposed to be? Oh my God.
To expect the voice to come out and be like, "Dead men tell no tales."
Is it a genuine Disney mask?
I don't think so. Here's the ceremonial circle. Head up a little further. It does look like they redid a lot of these steps. This is definitely newer wood. So as you see, that was our trip to Fall Run Park in Shaler Township. Could have been Glenshaw too. I've always looked at, I mean, Glenshaw's a borough, I believe, within Shaler, just kind of like Millvale and Etna are. But I believe it was Shaler Township, and beautiful park, really enjoyed it. A lot of kids today because it was Saturday. I did a lot of small clips because I was trying not to get too many people in the shot out of respect for their privacy, and trying to kind of give you a really good look at the natural geography of the place without a ton of people. But there were a lot of people there today. But we did have a really good time. The only complaint I have about the park is they ran storm sewers right down the middle of the run. And I don't think they really had a choice because of the way the houses are built on either side. So there was a kind of a foul odor in the air, and I probably would, if you have children, keep them out of the water. I saw a lot of people with their kids in bathing suits and stuff, and it just kind of freaks me out a little bit because I was reading an article about single cell amoebas that are like, they get into your bloodstream or into your body and they like eat your brain. And I know that's not funny, but definitely not something I would chance in water that contains sewer runoff. So I think there's some more hardy Pittsburghers that enjoy that kind of thing, or enjoy their water enough that they're willing to put their kids in there, but I would not do that if I were you, if I went. And I would also go during a school day, if you can, if you have a day off or something from work, that would be the time to go. And I would also go after a period of rain, because you'll see a much more water running down and more waterfalls. So that's the other thing. We haven't had rain in like 4 or 5 days, so it was still a beautiful waterfall, as you saw at the end there, but definitely not as beautiful as it could be. So with that being said, I'm going to sign out for the evening, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I want to say I'm working on getting better. I'm not a good photographer. I'm not a good videographer, so I'm going to try to get better at this. And if you subscribe, I do promise more content and some better, hopefully, better quality videos. So thank you again, and I will talk to you tomorrow.